Like, like what? Like this?
Like that.
Like that. Okay. Hi, I'm Felix. I'm the technical lead on the CoW protocol team. We've recently just spun out the product that you might know of as CoW Swap from Nous. I've been in the space for about 3.5 years now, working at Nous on batch options with uniform clearing prices, Nous protocol as a decentralized exchange layer version 1, and then as of last year we developed the version 2 of Nous protocol, which we turned into CoW Swap, and now we're taking solo as CoW protocol. So the idea behind the mechanism stems from the fact that we observed users are getting taken advantage of by miners or searchers, basically in the form of avis, that if you're making a trade today and you're replacing a reasonable slippage tolerance and are trading a reasonable size, then your trade is likely going to get attacked by somebody that is watching the mempool and trying to manipulate the price just before your trade goes through to actually extract as much slippage as you are willing to pay, then execute your trade, and later on reverse that manipulation and basically sell the token back to the pool, having made you pay more money for the trade. And so this phenomenon of minor extractable value was something that we think we can combat by using a novel trading mechanism, which is a batch auction mechanism, where basically all trades that are happening within one Ethereum block are not executed in order at different price per trade, but instead they are executed holistically in one single transaction, and we can guarantee a single uniform clearing price for all trades that are happening in the same batch. And so with that in mind, it also allows us to not only settle trades on-chain with AMMs or other liquidity that we can find on-chain, but it also allows us to actually settle trades peer-to-peer against one another. So if I'm buying Ether for US dollars, for example, and at the same time you're selling Ether for US dollar, there's no necessity for us to actually go to Uniswap and do the trade there. We can just trade peer-to-peer. And that phenomenon of you wanting to actually trade the exact opposite of what I want to trade is known as coincidence of wants. And coincidence of wants is short for CoW. And that's how the name CoW Swap basically came across. We wanted to take a very simple user experience that's like Uniswap in a way that a lot of people know how to use, that feels familiar and safe, and add this extra layer of batch auctions, MEV protection, and coincidence of wants on top. And this is how CoW Swap was created. And then, so CoW Swap is basically the UI on top of CoW protocol. CoW protocol is really the idea of having a batch auction layer on top of Ethereum where we settle trades once per block at a uniform clearing price. And so the protocol is really agnostic to where its order flow comes from. CoW Swap, of course, is the primary source where users place their orders today. But for example, we have a partnership with Balancer, where if you go on the Balancer UI and you choose the gasless trading experience, it's another side advantage that comes from using a CoW protocol, then this order also gets routed to the underlying protocol and can be matched with other orders from Balancer, but it can also be matched with orders coming from CoW Swap. So we really want to, with CoW protocol, create this batch layer on top of Ethereum where all trades, regardless of the user interface they've been placed on, can be settled by virtue of coincidence of wants, by virtue of batch auctions, uniform clearing prices, and in a MEV protected manner. Yeah, so fundamentally the difference in user experience is that if you go to 1inch or Paraswap or Matcha, you're still going to send your trade as a real Ethereum transaction yourself. So that means you are authoring a slippage tolerance, you are deciding on what the actual route is that you're going to take, even if the API from Paraswap suggests the perfect route for you, and you are submitting that transaction onto the mempool and onto the blockchain, making it front-runnable or making it sandwichable potentially. The difference on CoW Swap is you're not actually authoring an Ethereum transaction. All that you're doing is you're signaling, you're signing a message which basically serves as a trade intent, saying that I am willing to sell this token for that token But it's not an Ethereum transaction, it's just an off-chain message that you sign with your private key. And then you delegate the actual execution of the trade to a third party of CoW protocol. And that third party is referred to as solvers. And in other systems, you might think of a relayer, basically a professional party that executes the transaction on your behalf. And now what these solvers, there's not just one solver in CoW protocol, there's actually a fleet of solvers that see the entire order flow that is coming into the system, and then they are trying to settle these orders in the best possible way. And the protocol chooses one of the solvers to actually give them the right to settle the batch that all of the solvers are trying to solve. And the way that is by which the protocol decides which solver gets the right to execute the trades is by looking at how much price improvement can the solvers give to the users. And so if you're placing a limit order, let's say buying ETH at $3,000, but there's a solver that says, well, I can give you that ETH for $2,950, you're making a $50 surplus. And if another solver comes in and says, well, I can give you that ETH for $2,900, then that solver outcompetes the first one and gets the right to execute your trade on chain. And because we have different DEX aggregators integrated as solvers, CowSwap or CoW protocol in a way operates as a meta DEX aggregator, because no matter which Paraswap 1inch 0x has currently the best price for your trade, because we have a solver for each of them, you'll make sure that at execution time the best DEX aggregator's route gets chosen, or in even a better case, when there is a coincidence of wants, when somebody wants to actually trade the opposite side of your trade, it might even be better to not use a DEX aggregator at all, but settle the trade peer-to-peer, giving you at least a price that is as good as the best DEX aggregator, or in some cases, when there's a coincidence of want, even a structural price improvement that you cannot find on any other AMM or DeFi protocol out there today. Yeah, so in a way that also has a little bit of a historic reason. So Gnosis as a company has from day one been very supportive and interested in the XDAI chain technology and stack. Recently Gnosis bought XDAI, and XDAI is now called Gnosis Chain. But even before that, we've been very aligned with the team, and for us it was always kind of an incentivized testnet that works better for testing our products than Rinkeby, because on Rinkeby, especially with a decentralized exchange, prices don't make sense. There's arbitrage opportunity that nobody takes everywhere. It's really hard to test a product on a non-incentivized testnet, and for us, XDAI at the time was always an incentivized testnet where we can try out new things and experiment faster. And so even for Gnosis Protocol version 1, even for the Dutch X, kind of for all the decentralized experiments that Gnosis has done, we always use Gnosis Chain or XDAI as the first deployment other than mainnet. That being said, of course, we realize that the community these days is largely interested in Polygon, Binance Smart Chain, other EVM-based chains, so we are also listening to the community and are not overly opinionated on which side chains we're going to support. No, I mean we're trying to be pretty open about it and also use the great community that we have as input to help us decide which should be the next chain. I think the community is overwhelmingly in favor of adding support for Polygon. Just maybe a word of what we need to consider when we choose a new chain. One is that the product makes sense also on that chain, so in terms of the trade velocity, in terms of coincidence of wants potential, in terms of MEV protection. Like if a chain has nothing of that, then maybe it doesn't make a lot of sense for CowSwap to deploy there. On the other hand, we also have to keep in mind how different is the chain from the way that Ethereum works. And while both Binance Smart Chain as well as Polygon are EVM compatible chains, there are some quirks and differences that make a off-chain infrastructure heavy project like CowSwap, where we have solvers, we have the order book API, we have a lot of components that rely on the behavior of full nodes, more difficult to adapt. We've seen, as Gnosis, we have seen it with the Gnosis Safe. Trying to deploy the Gnosis Safe on different side chains was an endeavor that was a little bit harder than the team would have thought originally. So we try to be mindful of the engineering resources while making sure we really focus on adding value to users. But that being said, of course, there's a lot of users on Polygon, and it's definitely one one of the top chains that we're looking at right now. I mean, I think we are at a very interesting point where a lot of users are coming into the crypto space. I mean, last week was Super Bowl. There were so many ads for centralized exchanges or for other blockchain projects. So I think we're really at this inflection point where the next couple of million of people are joining the space, and it's going to be very interesting to see which platforms they choose, which use cases blockchain can also offer beyond just investing and decentralized trading and trying to get rich quickly. I think that's going to be very important, but yeah, first and foremost, also for Ethereum, it's going to be interesting to really compete with all the other side chains and layer 2 solutions for this new user base, and then seeing how this will play out in the long run, which chains will actually land ahead and get that order, get that user flow, and get the application of people. That is going to be, I think, very exciting and very interesting. So I'm very excited about the next 12 months or 6 months. Ah oui, bien sûr. J'apprends le français, mais en ce moment c'est pas encore. Je suis pas encore prêt pour faire l'entretien en français, mais peut-être la prochaine fois. Merci.